Shalom, it's your brother Yerah giving all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rachach Wadash for giving me the spirit to do this lesson in Shalom to the elect of Israel, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, the prophets, the men of the Lord that are preaching and teaching the word in sincerity and in truth. Shalom to all of you brothers, sisters. Shalom. I have here Jeremiah 30. And it's on my spirit to do Jeremiah 30. And one of the main reasons why is because when you just read through it, it sums up perfectly, basically who we are, what's happening right now, and what's going to happen in the very near future. And honestly, Christians really can't get past this chapter, If someone's trying to convince you, maybe somebody like in your family, to become a part of Christianity or even to stay a part of it, ask them to break down this chapter, Jeremiah 30. It's really become one of my favorite. It's very, very powerful, and it's the antithesis, I should say, of Christianity, which doesn't give you any answers. It doesn't explain anything. And I just wanted to read, and I'll go through it, and then I'll break it down through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, and then we'll let it roll, So this is Jeremiah 30, verse 1. This is the word that came to Jeremiah from the Lord Yahweh, saying, "Thus speaketh the Lord Yahweh, God of Israel, saying, write thee all of the words that I have spoken unto thee in a book." Now, this is a prophecy, and so the first thing you should ask is, has this prophecy come to pass yet? If anybody asks, why do you believe what you believe? What are you into? If they spout, Catholicism or any other madness, ask them if this prophecy's come to pass yet, and then see what they say. And so verse 3 says, "For lo, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh, that I will bring again the captivity of my people, Israel and Judah." Now, Israel and Judah is talking about the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. Oftentimes you'll see Israel after the split, from the time of after King Solomon, Jeroboam and Rehoboam, you'll see Judah broken up as the southern kingdom, which is Judah, which consists of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi in most cases. And then Israel, you have Ephraim and the rest of the 9 or 10 tribes that you will see referred to as Israel. And we basically got split, during the Assyrian captivity mainly, and then thereafter. It says, and the Lord is saying here, "I will bring again the captivity of my people, Israel and Judah, saith the Lord Yahweh, and I will cause them to return to the land that I gave to their fathers, and they shall possess it." Now, the so-called Jews over there in Israel today are basically saying this prophecy came to pass in 1948, that when that Rothschild signed that Balfour Declaration, that was prophecy coming to pass. That was the Most High bringing them back into the land. But we're going to clearly see that's bullshit. He's talking about us. We're in our land of our captivity here in America. And the Most High is about to do a mighty work, and restore his people. Let's keep going. Verse 4, "And these are the words that the Lord Yahweh spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah." So telling you right now, in the context of this entire chapter, is Israel and Judah, not all nations. Not every nation on the planet can be saved. Only the ones that the Most High cares about can be saved. Verse 5, it says, "For thus saith the Lord Yahweh, we have heard a voice of trembling and of fear, and not of peace." So Jeremiah is setting the stage right now from a vision, that he's getting. He says, "Ask ye now, and see whether a man doeth travail with child. Wherefore do I see a man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and faces all are turned into paleness." So what he's seeing is men, basically in pain. Imagine a man with his hands on his loins. He's laid out. He's travailing. As a woman would, in labor. That's the fearful thing with paleness in their faces. You know, showing you what he's seeing are men. And under great distress. Verse 7, it says, "Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be delivered out of it." And we're in the time of Jacob's trouble now, basically. It's basically starting, especially with the coronavirus. I mean, you could even argue that it started before that, you know. Once the RFID chip is here, that's a major prophecy. The Most High is going to show up, and we're right around the corner from that, you know. So notice it's talking about Jacob's trouble, not heathen's trouble. And it says, "But he shall be saved out of it." Meaning, if you're not an Israelite, there's no hope of you being saved out of this. So look, you just have to die, get judged. So verse 8, "For it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him." So that is a major, major prophecy, and that is exactly what the Most High is doing, because he broke the physical chains, but really he didn't really fully break it yet, because we're still here in captivity, we're still serving captivity one way or another, economically, we're still here under the curses. We don't really have the rights that we should have. And we don't have the means or the rights to have our own land, our own laws, our own customs, So this is still a captivity that we're in, despite a lot of Negroes getting comfortable here, Verse 9 says, "But they shall serve the Lord Yahweh their God, and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them." Now ask those so-called Jews over there in Israel, did David their king ever show up, if they fulfill prophecy? Now, when you read, it says David their king, it's easier to read that as the actual monarch David, But really, what Jeremiah is talking about here is the house of David, the order of David, and everything that flows underneath it, which is Israel. The Most High gave David the throne to rule over the nation of Israel, to judge, And that's what he's talking about, raising back up the tabernacle of David, which is happening right before our very eyes. Verse 10, it says, "Therefore fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, saith the Lord Yahweh, neither be dismayed, O Israel." Not heathen, just those two, "For lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity." Now, what other nation has he saved from their captivity, It says, "And Jacob shall return, and shall be in rest, and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid." That's a major cut to those imposters who are over there in the land right now. Because ever since 1948, there's been no rest, It's been constant war and conflict, them committing all manner of atrocities, them having to take, millions or billions of dollars from America for their military just so they're safe. Because there's bombings going on every year, There's no peace over there. That land is split, It says, verse 11, "For I am with thee, saith the Lord Yahweh, to save thee, though I make a full end of all nations, whither I have scattered thee." Now, when in the history of the world has the Most High made a full end to all nations? Ask the Christian that. Never. That's never happened. That's yet to come. And we're the only ones who've been scattered. out of our own land. It says, yet will I not make a full end of thee, you know, but I will correct thee in measure and will not leave thee altogether unpunished. And so what he's saying there is he's going to punish some of us, you know, but ultimately he's gonna save a remnant, and that's where Yahweh Shah came in, you know. He came in to die for the sins of the remnant, that elect, the ones that kept the faith, the upright, you know, of our people, you know. And the other 2/3 of us are just gonna have to be punished, you know, because our sins were we were wilding out, man, you know. We were wilding out, and not just no one time, for a long time and repeatedly, you know. So the Most High is, you know, he's long suffering in that, and that's how it goes, you know. He says, but I will correct thee in measure, you know. That's the 2/3, and will not leave thee altogether unpunished, you know. Showing you that Jeremiah knew that there's going to be a remnant of us that was going to be saved, and a remnant of us that was going to have to be judged, you know, in that great day that's coming. You know, verse 12, it says, for thus saith the Lord Yahweh, thy bruise is incurable, and thy wound is grievous. Yeah, because they literally beat us. They took our identity, you know. They raped us. They raped our men in front of their wives. They humiliated us. They hung us, you know. Then they shoehorned us into the bottom rung of society in a poverty class, forced us to pay taxes, you know, to build up their empire further so they can go out, you know, and destroy the rest of the world, basically, you know. And then it's just been discrimination and redlining, you know, and food stamps and abortion clinics, you know, democracy and all of this madness they force down our throat. And now they're just brutalizing us every day, you know, via the police, you know. So that's a very, very steep penalty you're going to have to pay, you know. Our wound is grievous, you know, as it says, you know. And there's no amount of reparations that you can come up with now, Esau. You done fucked up, you know. There's nothing you can pay. There's no money that you can try to shell out. The only thing you can do is go into slavery, you know. Work off that debt for 1,000 years, and then we be done with you, you know. Verse 13 says, there is none to plead thy cause, that thou mayest be bound up. Thou hast no healing medicines. Right. We just been in here under captivity, under the curses, you know. Esau making money off of us under the curses, selling us all kind of wicked medicines, GMO foods, you know. You living in the hood, you know. Have what you call food deserts, you know. No supermarkets where you can get, you know, vegetables and stuff, you know. You just got, you know, our people living on a diet of Cheetos and Gatorade, you know. Destroyed, you know. Esau has a lot to pay for. Verse 14, all thy lovers have forgotten thee. They seek thee not, for I have wounded thee with the wound of an enemy, and chastisement of a cruel one, with the multitude of thine iniquity, because thy sins were increased. Now, didn't we not serve in slavery for hundreds and hundreds of years, you know? Did that fit the so-called Jew, you know? That's a cruel chastisement, man. We went through all of that, you know, and they brought us over here, about 1 million, over to the Western Hemisphere, built up this entire, both of these continents, really, you know. America, definitely. Or should I say the North American continent. And it says, why criest thou for thine affliction? Thy sorrow is incurable for the multitude of thine iniquity. Because thy sins were increased, I have done these things to thee. So we can't cry about it, you know, as horrible as it was to witness, It might seem cruel because, really we have no remembrance, when we're reborn again of uh, of what we've done in the past. But it's written, you know. So there's no point in us crying. And for all you niggas out there in that militant spirit that want to buck up, against Esau, you want to fight back because of what's happening with the riots and everything. Well, this is a cut to you because the Most High saying He's done this. He's the reason why we're here. We're the ones who went off, you know. And if you want to inherit the kingdom of heaven, that the Most High is perfectly fair. That has to be paid off. Somebody's got to pay, you know. Like Yahweh Shai is not dying for every single person, you know. He's gonna save the remnant for the sake of the kingdom being built up. But there still has to be a cost. Just how the Most High really loved David, you know. But ultimately, David was not able to build a temple. Solomon had to build a temple because David had blood on his hands, you know. Now he loved David, but it was what it was. You can't build a temple, you know. There has to be some type of penance, for that, So David was given the throne, you know. He was given the right to have the throne, the king, Yahweh Shai, come through his loins. But, ultimately, he wasn't given that gift to build a temple, And you have to look at it the same way here is we went off in a major, major way. So not all of us are going to make it, Some of us have to die the death of the heathen, And Lord willing, I'm of the number of the elect, that the Most High will have mercy on in these latter days. Because that day that's coming it's a horrible judgment, Verse 16 says, therefore all they that devour thee shall be devoured. It says, and all thine enemies and adversaries, even one of them, every one of them, Salakia, shall go into captivity, and they shall spoil thee, and they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. Now, when has that happened? Never. Jeremiah is speaking of the days to come, which have still yet to come, but are very, very near. Verse 17 says, for I will restore health unto thee, and heal thee of thy wounds, saith the Lord Yahweh, because they called thee an outcast, saying, this is Zion, whom no man seeketh. And yet everybody looks at us as outcasts, the lowest, the low, even internationally, they look at us that way. So-called Chinese, you see how they treat those Nigerians, just even Hamites, look down upon us when they come here, Even Hamites, one of the wackest, the nations that's out there, man, are among those people, And they come here, look down because they know, Esau has cast us down, and that's caused these other nations to fall in line and believe and think the same thing, But it's all written, Verse 18 says, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, I will bring again the captivity of Jacob's tents, and have mercy on his dwelling places, and the city shall be builded upon her own heap. And that heap is going to be the parking lot that the land of Israel is going to be turned into when the Most High shows up, He's going to send those countries over there in the Middle East to completely just destroy that place, and they're going to rebuild the temple, You're going to rebuild all of Jerusalem in that land. It says, and the palace shall remain after the manner thereof. Verse 19, it says, and out of them shall proceed thanksgiving, and the voice of them that make merry, and I will multiply them, and they shall not be few. And that's talking about the elect, in the kingdom. We're going to be having sex, with our women. They're going to be the most beautiful and righteous sisters, you've ever seen, gorgeous, honorable, righteous women, and we're gonna repopulate, and we're gonna multiply, and the 2/3 will come back through us, you know. It says, and they shall not be few, you know. So that is how the 2/3 are gonna come back. We're gonna get our women, and even in the women of other nations as well too, and we're gonna repopulate, man, in a major way. It says, I will also glorify them, and they shall not be small. Verse 20 says, their children also shall be as aforetime, and their congregation shall be established before me, and I will punish all that oppress them. And that's everybody, all these nations at a hand. And so if you came at us, if you profited one penny, off of our destruction, you know, off of our time of calamity, our distress, you about to pay in a major way, man. You about to give tribute to the Israelites, you know. Verse 21, and their nobles shall be of themselves. Talking about our nobles. We're going to judge us. We're not going to have an Edomite judge ruling over us in the court case. Well, yeah, I think Latoya should have custody, over the kids. Ain't going to be none of that, Israelites are going to be the ruling class. Even when the heathen get their other land, and they get their own order set up in their own land, we're still not going to report to them, When we show up in the land of Moab, the top Moabite is still going to report to the lowest Israelite, That's just how it's going to go, We're going to be the noble class. The nobility is going to be Israelites, the judges and rulers, and their governor shall proceed from the midst of them. That's Yahweh Shai, baby, the king. It says, and I will cause him to draw near, and he shall approach unto me. For who is that engaged? For who is this that engaged his heart to approach unto me, saith the Lord. And that's the kingdom. It's the king. Verse 22, and ye shall be my people. And who is the ye here? and I will be your God. And ye shall be my people. He's talking about Israel, not all nations. So none of that you're reading in the New Testament is talking about all of these heathen. Anybody who just believes, can be a part of this thing, It's only us, the seed line of Israel, That's it. Verse 23, it says, behold, the whirlwind of the Lord Yahweh goeth forth with a fury, a continuing whirlwind. And that's the chariots, Which look like whirlwinds, like those saucers, with the circular shapes moving out of the sky, that's been spotted for, all of history, really. They're going to, like they're a plague now, leading up to the destruction. They're going to be a plague into the heathen now and all the way throughout the kingdom. It says, and it shall fall with pain upon the head of the wicked. Right, because those chariots, we're going to pull up, Heathen's going to go off. We're going to be in a chariot. How that cop is kneeling on the neck of one up. That's going to be us. We're going to pull up on you. Whoop, whoop. This Hamite's going off, We're going to put our knee on your neck. And we're gonna rule over you just like you ruled over us, And just how you see the chariots that are cursed now, they're going to be a curse unto those heathen in the kingdom, Because we're going to be perfect, Heathen's still going to be able to go off, but we're not going to have that. It's going to be written in us to do the right thing, And all that's been done has to be paid back, It says the fierce anger of the Lord Yahweh shall not return until he have done it, and until he have performed the intents of his heart. So all of this has got to play out, The wrath of the Most High isn't going anywhere until all of this is fulfilled, It says, in the latter days ye shall consider it. And are we in those latter days? Yes, we are, you know. So as you can see, this chapter goes in pretty heavy, and it's it's really become one of my favorites, and I just wanted to read that and encourage you brothers that this is what we have to look forward to. This is the kingdom. So hopefully, I was able to break this down and show you brothers and sisters, and y'all were edified. So shalom.